Excellent. So welcome to Move in May, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Move in May. Tonight's mindset call is definitely going to be about how we can move and how we can shift our mind, because I think we have to start everything with the mind first. Before we see it happen in the physical, of course, it's going to happen inside the spiritual. And one of the things that I think is very, very important when it comes to moving in May is clarity, being clear, C-L-E-A-R, on what it is that we want to do, who it is that we want to be, how it is that we want to feel, how our bank account looks. You know, we want to be clear on every single part of what it is that we want to move. And so homework, I'm coming straight for the homework. You know, first thing on this call, I want you to write this down, is what do you want to move in the month of May? I don't want you to do it now. I don't want you to rush this, but I want you to be able to come off of this call and to list what it is that you want to move in the month of May. What needs to shift for you? What is it that you need to see a movement in? What is it that you're praying for? What is it that you need action to be taken in the month of May? You got to have absolute clarity on that. C-L-E-A-R. You've got to be clear on what it is that you want. Let me tell you this. A lot of people wait till January, the beginning of a new year or end of a new year, to reset themselves. And you don't have to wait for a new year to be able to make a decision to change. Okay? You got to know what it is that you expect from your vision, from your mission, for your life. And so many times we are in situations where everything is dictated to us. From school, we get told by the teachers. When we're growing up, we get told by our parents. You know, when we're in a job, we get told by our boss. And, you know, we have been in a chain of being told what to do, being told how to think. And so sometimes, you know, when I speak to people and I say, well, what's the vision for your life? How do you want to feel? What do you want to have? Sometimes, you know, most people don't know what they want, because you get stuck in the rat race. Anybody got a time where you realized that you were stuck, that you realized that you were just doing the same thing every single day, the same routine, the same cycle? You know, and sometimes it can get to a place where you feel stagnant, you feel still, you don't feel like you're actually moving, you don't feel like you're getting any closer to maybe what it is that you want. And then sometimes you don't even know what it is that you want. And so in order for us to really make a decision to move, we got to know what it is that we're moving to. You also got to know what you're moving away from. What are the distractions that's taking place right now? What are the things that you know that's happening in your life that you know is not good for you? What do you need to move away from? What are the words that you need to move away from? How are you speaking to yourself? What are the things that you are saying to you and doing to you on a daily basis? Maybe it's your consistency that needs to move. Maybe it's your diet that needs to move. I don't know if I have any confessions on the call. Maybe it's your morning routine that needs to move. Maybe it's your relationship techniques that needs to move. Maybe it's your self-evaluation, your assessment, your discipline. What is it that you need to move in the month of May? We've got to be absolutely clear about it. And then we've got to get mad about it. I feel like we need to get mad in May as well. M-A-D. MAD stands for make a decision. We got to make a decision that we are going to move. A lot of times we don't even make the decision. Do you know that the decision-making process is actually free? In the mind, you say to yourself, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this decision, and boom. It's funny how your paradigm begins to start to attract the things that it is that you need. Now, check this out. I was listening to this audio, and the guy was talking about this, you know, the RAS that's in our mind, the reticular activating system, and how the reticular activating system works inside our mind. And I don't know if you've ever studied this or you've ever looked into this, but how the reticular activating system works, it's like a sat navigation. Whatever coordinates you put in it, it will attract to make sure that it confirms that thing that you are thinking of. So let's say, for example, you think to yourself, how many of you drive on this call? You've always wanted a specific car. And every single time you look outside, that's the only car you see. It's not that that's the only car that's out there, but that's because your reticular activating system will feed you whatever it is that you put inside it. And it works in the reverse as well. Doubt. If you feed your reticular activating system doubt, guess what happens? It's going to find confirmations of the things that you're looking for. Have you ever told yourself that you're going to get a job? You don't know why, you don't know how, you may be unqualified, but because you told yourself you're going to get that job, you walked in there and you got that job. There are things that we have to do when it comes to moving our mouth in the month of May. We got to speak bigger in the month of May. We got to make sure that the words that come out of our mouth, we are happy to feed our reticular activating system. That every single word that comes out of our mouth, how many of us know that we say something sometimes we're like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. And what we speak, that has an effect on how we feel. Because remember, okay, how we think affects our emotions affect how we feel, and how we feel affects what we do. This is the TEAR, T-E-A-R. Your thoughts affect your emotions, which affect your actions, which ultimately affect your results. So if we reverse engineer this and say, well, if I don't like the results that I'm getting in a particular area, let me root it back to the way that I am thinking. What are the thoughts that's going through my mind? What are the things that's going through my mind? And you see, you can always tell somebody who will be successful to somebody who doesn't, because a successful person's predominant thoughts of their mind is vision. They are clear on the vision. They are clear on where they want to go. So you got to make sure that you have a vision. What is a vision, guys? The ability to plan the future, to think about the future, using wisdom and imagination. Vision, the ability to plan the future using wisdom and imagination. It is the ability to plan the future, to think about the future, right? This is what vision is. You see, it's about the thoughts that's going through your mind. Are you thinking about the future, or are you thinking about your current situation or the past? Where you decide to put your thoughts is going to determine where you see the results in your life. How many of you have been guilty? I know I have, of thinking about the current situation, thinking about the past. And do you know sometimes that in order to move towards what it is that we want, we got to move away from some of the past things. We got to move away from, the pain and the hurt, and actually forgive. We got to move away from, the disappointments and the rejections, and move into a place of forgiveness, move into a place of expectation, move into a place of trust. How many of you have trust issues? And I don't come on here to talk about trust today. That'll be another thing. But some of us have to learn to trust again. Some of us have to learn to trust ourselves again. Some of us have to learn to be in a position where we say, okay, that happened, but that doesn't mean that's going to continually happen. That doesn't mean that that's always going to be the story. That's not going to, I used to tell myself, everybody's against me. Everybody wants to steal from me. Everybody wants to use me. Everybody wants to take from me. And remember, if you feed your reticular activating system those thoughts, guess what it's going to do? It's going to prove you right. It's going to find ways to prove you right. But what I had to realize was everybody wasn't against me. In fact, everybody didn't even know me. There's 8 billion people in the world. How many people are actually everybody? Maybe 1 or 2 people have disappointed me in the past. Maybe 5, maximum 10. But that still doesn't equate to everybody that I was teaching my reticular activating system. So I had to move my mouth. I had to move what it was that I was saying, and began to change my affirmations. And my affirmation was that I am open and receptive to who God blesses me with in my life to enable me to move into the calling that He has for my life. How many of us are speaking about meeting good people? How many of us are speaking about having good relationships, having good friendships? Or how many of us have been guilty of saying, I don't trust people. I don't do people. I'm not a people's person. Right? I was speaking to one of my mentees the other day, and she said to me, Nikki, I'm not a seller. I said, you're right, you're not. Because if you say you're not, you won't be. Because that's what you're telling your reticular activating system. How many of you affirm things that you're not? Let's be honest. How many of us have ever said to ourselves that I'm not this? Whatever you feed it, that's what it's going to do. That's what it's going to provide. So you've got to have a vision. Now, when it says to have the ability to think about the future using wisdom, what is wisdom? Someone type in the chat box for me. When we think about the word wisdom, what does wisdom actually mean? What is wisdom? Because we talk about it. Richest man ever walked the world, Solomon. He asked for wisdom. He could have anything he wanted. He asked for wisdom. What is wisdom? Why is wisdom something that is important for us to have? What is wisdom, ladies and gentlemen? Wisdom has a lot to do with experience. It requires, it requires the experience of the past, but also as well the way to take action in a particular area, right? That's wisdom. How many of us know that we got to make wise decisions if we're going to move in May? That we got to use wisdom. We got to move forward in wisdom. Wisdom is very, very important. Have you ever made a decision and you thought, oh, I shouldn't have done that? Have you ever done something? I think it was about a year and a half ago. Somebody came to me with an opportunity of investment. And as an investor, when people come to me with investments, I take a look at them. I'll decide yes or no if I want to go ahead and invest. And somebody came to me, somebody that I knew, somebody that I trusted, came to me, said to me, Nikki, I think you should invest into this. And I put my money into something. I think it was about £4,000 or £5,000 I put towards this thing, but I didn't use wisdom because I trusted the person that I didn't do my due diligence, and it was a scam. $4,000 just like that. And I looked at myself and I said, where? Because I'm a person, I always look at situations to say, how could this have gone different? What could I have done different? What I could have done different is just really look into what it was that I was buying, look into what it was I was investing into, ask more questions, use wisdom before just handing over my money like that. How many of us have ever done something without wisdom? How many of us have ever parked our car in a place where we didn't check to see if there was restrictions and end up with a parking ticket? Right? So wisdom is applying knowledge. Wisdom is using previous experiences to be able to make good judgment, to be able to act accordingly that's going to get the result that we want. So we really want to have wisdom. The definition of vision is the ability to plan the future, to think about the future using wisdom and imagination, but it says the ability to. So what is the ability? The ability means you must want it. You must be focused around it. To have the ability to do something, you must want it. You must be focused. You must be willing to learn. You must be willing to grow. It must be something that you want in the month of May that's going to push you to move. So we've got to be clear about what it is that we want. We've got to have absolute clarity about what it is that we want. You know, we also have to be clear about the distractions. We've got to be clear about the distractions. What are the things that keep coming up? You know, every time something happens, if you look deeper, there may be a pattern of distractions. And the enemy knows sometimes they can't get you in one area because you're really strong in that area. How many of you have ever been sick, ever had issues, but you still get up and go to work? There's nothing that could stop you going to that job because you have a discipline in that area. But the enemy knows that's not your weakness. So the enemy will come for your weakness. If you look at your distractions, they come in a place where you're vulnerable. They come in a place where you're potentially weaker. And come in a place where it wants to pinch your toe. Come in a place where you feel like, okay, but can you spot a pattern? So you can be one step ahead. The enemy may come for your bank account because they know that your finances is a weakness. The enemy may come in your children because they know that your children is a weakness for you. Have you seen anyone, before where, they're having an argument, but the minute someone mentions their mum, they go crazy and they're ready to kill you because they know that's the weak area. They know they can get you when they mention that thing. They know, anybody out there, chat box is going silent. Anybody out there know what I'm talking about? Where you literally be calm and collective. You see it with parents as well. Oh, don't mention my children. She just go and mention my children. It's a war. Like there's these, the enemy knows your triggers, Isaiah. They know your triggers. And so if the enemy knows your triggers, do you know your triggers? Are you spiritually aware of your triggers? Are you spiritually aware of what it is that you got to work on so you don't get got, as we say? Because if the enemy knows they can get you, they can pinch your toe on that, and that's going to cause you to fall off. That's going to cause you to drop the ball. That's going to cause you to be distracted. That's the area where they're going to come. Ever been in a place where you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to get this little bit of money coming in. And you know that you already planned it. You're like, I'm going to clear some debts. And I'll be level for the next month. I'll be back on my feet. And the enemy says, okay, cool. Let's put some distractions. All of a sudden, some unwarranted things start to come your way. All of a sudden, some things that you didn't even plan for start to come your way. All of a sudden, some things that you were like, hold up now, how come I got 7? I ain't got no parking tickets for 2 years. And now I got 7 in the same month. What's going on? The enemy knows exactly what your issue is. And so you have to be one step ahead when it comes to moving in May. What are what are the things that you could do to prevent the same patterns that keep coming and pinching on your little, I was going to say your corn toe, but I know no one has corns on here, on your little toe. It's coming to step on your toe. You in order to move, you got to know what the enemy's steps are against you. You got to know that there's an attack on your life, because guess what? There's a big mission that you have to fulfill. So what is it that you have to do in this season to avoid the distractions, to not fall deep? How many of you know that you affirming great relationships, and then all of a sudden you fall out with your best friend? All of a sudden you fall out with a family member. All of a sudden you fall out with somebody that you have no business falling out about. The war is not with flesh and blood, ladies and gents. It is a very spiritual distraction. How are you going to keep your relationships in this season? You gotta have the eye to spot the seeds that the enemy will sow to form division. And so you must be clear, because life can get foggy sometimes. We can get caught up in the small things. But can you remain focused when the storm comes? Can you remain focused during the time when things look like they're going crazy? It always reminds me of, the story when the storm was happening and everyone in the boat was panicking and Jesus was sleeping. How you gonna sleep through the storm, bro? I was like, yo, we're dying. We're going under. Homeboy sleeping. He gets up and he's like, storm be calm and everything's. He's like, what, you with little faith? Has that ever happened to you before, that you put so much energy and effort and stress and sleepless nights into a situation that figured itself out? This, ladies and gentlemen, is a word that I'm going to say to you, which I want you to write down. It is emotional intelligence. Can you remain calm during a storm? Emotional intelligence. How do you respond or react to situations that are out of your control? Emotional intelligence is about your thinking, the process of your reaction versus responses. Emotional intelligence is the way you process information. Do you process it emotionally, or are you processing that information logically? Do you make quick decisions? Are you fast to make a decision without really thinking it through? Or are you on the other end of the scale where you think it through so much that nothing gets done? I believe they call that procrastination. Because in this season, we got to really assess our thinking. When was the last time you thought about the way you think? How do you think? What are your thought processes like? Because in order to move in May, and in order to reset and get yourself in position to really make a move in May, you got to assess the way you think. How do you think? What happens to your mind when you are faced with adversity? What happens in your mind when you're faced with being able to be consistent when you've made a decision? How come you've run? What makes you run? What makes you freeze? What makes you stop? What has been going on in your life thus far? What are the past things that you need to forget, forgive, move on from that are preventing you from getting to the next level? I mean, breaking the ceiling. Sometimes we can get complacent. Sometimes we can sit in a situation for way too long. How many of you on this call have been in a relationship longer than you should have? You know that that relationship was dead. You know that that relationship was toxic. You knew that that relationship should not have been going on as long as it was. It wasn't edifying to you. It wasn't helpful to you. It was damaging, whether that be abusive, financially, physically, spiritually. But you stayed in that situation too long. Some of you need to move away from situations that is hurting and killing your vision. Some of you need to move away from people, persons, situations, communities, connections that are hurting your family, that's hurting your money, that's hurting your lineage, that's hurting your thought process. How many of you are around somebody right now? It doesn't even have to be a relationship, a friendship, that you feel bad when you speak with that person? But I had to ask myself, Nikki, why is it that you still hang around people that don't edify your vision, that don't edify you as a person, but pull you down? What is it that you are connected to? What is the soul tie that is keeping you around people that mean you no good? Let's flip this. Do you love yourself enough to want the best for yourself? Can you be unapologetic? Let me tell you this. Sometimes people will call people rude. Sometimes people will call people selfish. Sometimes people will say they think they're too nice. It's not that. They just love themselves. And when you see someone loving themselves, don't judge them. A lot of time when people see people loving themselves, they misinterpret that for ego. They misinterpret that for that person being self-centered. They misinterpret that for that person being selfish. No, there is something about loving yourself that will rub the wrong people up the wrong way because they are used to taking from people. They are used to manipulating people. And when they can't manipulate you, they will make you think that you are selfish. They will make you think that you are self-full. Well, actually, self-love is going to help you move in May. Do you love yourself enough to be consistent? Do you love yourself enough to put yourself in positive environments? Do you love yourself enough to have good people around you, to have good energy around you, to have loving people around you, to be in communities, environments that's going to pull you up and not bring you down? Do you love yourself enough for that? Do you love yourself more than you love the appraisal of other people? Can you love yourself more than you love the approval of other people? Can you love yourself more even if it upsets other people? You see, in this season of being moved, you see, when you're focused, stare at something right now. When you're focused on one thing, guess what happens? Everything else around becomes blurry. And in order for you to move in alignment with the goals that you have, you're going to have to focus. You're going to have tunnel vision. And some things may be blurred out. How many of you on this call right now know you have an untapped talent that you haven't moved? And you need to move on that talent. You have a gift on the inside of you. You have a speciality on the inside of you. There are people willing to pay for the gift that you are hiding from the world because you say you're unqualified. You say you're shy. You say you're nervous. You say, oh, you'll do it next year. You say, oh, maybe it's not me. I like being at the back. Do you know there's people waiting to unlock themselves, waiting for you to unleash? Now, I was having a conversation with, one of my good sisters, Amina Michelle, and I said to her, Amina, when is your event? You've got all of the skills. You have all of the things in you, and I still don't see a flyer for the event. I still don't see these moves happening. This is something that I saw in you the first day I met you, the first time I came to one of your events. Where are the events? What's going on for you? What's the skill set on the inside of you that needs to come out? In order to move, you know what you have to do? You just have to do it. You get mad, you make a decision, and you start making moves. You pick up the phone, you make a phone call, you go on the internet, you start researching, you look for the hall, you look for the venue, you go and source the hair, you source the product, whatever it is that you need to do. Do you know it just takes a decision and you begin to move? Who is ready to move in this season? How many on this call right now know that there's a movement that you got to make? You know that you have to step it up. You know that it's just one foot in front of the other. But you got to assess your thinking. Why are you delaying yourself? Why are you telling yourself it's not the right time? Why are you telling yourself that you gotta be more qualified? Why are you putting more stumbling blocks in front of you? Why are you holding yourself back? You got to assess the way that you think. Are you thinking about the future? Are you seeing what it is that you want? Are you speaking what you're seeking? Or are you leaning on your own understanding? And then you have the word future, the vision, the ability to plan the future, to think, right? And we know thinking is about the future, what we want, not the past, about the future using wisdom and imagination. The future. What is the future? What am I thinking? What am I writing down? Everything happens in the future first. This call first happened in the future. We spoke it. We said that the call is happening. The mindset call is happening on Monday. That was the future. Now it's happening. It's present. And when we come off the call, this call will be in the past. So in order for us to make anything move, we have to speak it first. The future comes first. So what are you speaking in this season? Are you speaking past? Are you speaking present? Because the future is what you're speaking and writing down. The future is what you're speaking and what you're writing down. Guys, we've got to be so clear. So clear. Clarity. See, how clear are you on the vision? What is that? The end result. How clear are you? Not the process, not the distractions, not the how, the end result. You know, the most important thing is to understand is the how is not your problem. Focus with the end in mind. Focus with the end in mind. Being clear what it is that you want, what it is that you see. Very important. Very important to have real clarity on what it is that you want. Write it down. The word says write it down, make it plain. You got to write that vision down, make it plain. Have an environment where you see it all around you, everywhere in your house, everywhere you go. What's your screensaver? Is it past? Is it present? Or is it future? What are you seeing? What are your senses exposed to right now? You see, I heard somebody say that visionaries, you know, different from, you know, the everyday person. The everyday person sees with their eyes. A visionary sees with their mind. How's your imagination? How big are you thinking in your imagination? How big is your thinking in your imagination? Have you lost your imagination? Do you know, there's no restrictions. You can think of anything in your imagination. There's no limits. Someone says sky's the limit. Sky isn't even the limit. How big are you thinking? What's, you know, and then the L is about becoming a leader of your own life. How are you growing as a person? Because there's so many of us on this call that have leadership responsibilities. Maybe you're a leader at your work. Maybe you're a leader in your home. But the first person we must lead is ourselves. What is your leadership growth plan? What does your personal development plan look like? Who's your mentor? Who are the people that you're looking to? Who are you following on social media? What are the things you're exposing your eyes to? How do you become a person of influence. Who are you influencing? And if you're a parent on the call, you know the children are watching. And they don't do what you tell them. They do what they see. So are you the role model for the people that you're influencing? How are you growing every single day? I said to somebody the other day, I said, I'm growing every day. So if you haven't spoken to me today, you don't know me. We do these calls every Monday. And I once had someone ask me, Nikki, I heard you train on something before. And I do this training on trust, such a powerful training that I do on trust. And someone said, Nikki, I've heard you do it 3 times. And each time it changed. Each time there was something different. I've heard you do a training, Nikki, but each time there's just something different about it. And the reason behind that is because I'm growing. I'm not the same person that taught it last time. I come with experience. I come with, my mindset. I come from my mentor's training. I come from the things I'm exposing myself to. So I could do a move in May next year and it's going to be the same words, but guess what? It's going to come from a different place because I'm growing every day. I find ways to grow. I spent over £50,000 last year on my personal development plan, on growing, because I understand I'm my biggest investment. I must pour into myself every single day. I must grow. What does your growth plan look like? What does your morning routine look like? Or are you rushing around frantic in the morning late? What are you listening to? What's the first thing you do? Is it grab your phone or is it put some good words in your mind? Good music. We got to make sure that we have leadership skills for ourselves, that we are growing personally. What does a great leader possess? A great leader possesses vision. A great leader has a great morning routine. A great leader finds ways to serve others. A great leader is disciplined, consistent. How do you become that leader of your life? For the people that you influence, but most importantly, for you to love yourself, that you know that when your time comes, you know that you transition fully, knowing that you fulfill the purpose over your life. We got to add value to others. If you're somebody that's, at a stage where you really want to, grow, there's a book by John C. Maxwell that I really want to, recommend to you, which is Developing the Leader Within You. And then you go on to the next one, which is Developing the Leaders Around You. Powerful books. Developing the leader within you and developing the leaders around you. John C. Maxwell, the #1 leadership coach in the world, has written, no one's written more books about leadership than him. Powerful, powerful books. And then we have the E, expectation. What are you expecting for this season? How many people are you expecting to meet that's going to have great relationships with you? What's your income goal in the month of May? How many events are you going to go to? I made a decision that I was going to say yes more than I was going to say no to the events that I show up to. I was that girl that every single time someone invited me somewhere, I'd rather stay at home and sit down. No. Do you know in order for you to grow is based on who you connect with? And how do you expect to connect with people if you stay stuck on your couch? Sorry, I'm used to speaking to my American family. Your sofa, your settee chairs, whatever you call them, right? How do you expect? Where the single ladies at? You single, right? I'm gonna give you an example. You're single and you say you're manifesting your husband. Let me tell you this, faith without works is dead. So you say you want that man to come in your life. What is the man that you want? Now, let's be honest. You potentially want a man that looks a certain way. You potentially want a man that is stable financially. Maybe he has a job. Maybe he has, has a bit of money, whatever. You must know the type of man that you want. And the type of man that you want, where does he hang out? Because you sitting at home every day Do you think you're going to find him there? Unless you're looking for the Amazon delivery guy or the mailman, he ain't going to come knocking on your door. So you got to hang out with the type of man that you say you want hangs out. How about you hang out in a Bentley dealership or the Rolls-Royce dealership once a week? How about you hang out in a nice hotel in Mayfair? How about you hang out, well, if you want that type of guy in Bromley, you go to Bromley. Where do you, the type of guy you want, why don't you hang out in a place where you may meet him? You want someone who reads? Hang out in the library. Huh? Oh no, that's too much effort. You see, you don't want to move. You see, if you want something, it's not going to happen by falling inside your lap. You have to move towards what it is that you want. You got to move towards the blessing. You have to move towards what it is that you want. Yes, there are miracles that take place. Yes, there are things that miraculously happen. But most of the time, there's something that has to take place on your part. Your expectation. Your expectation is a strong belief that something will happen in the future. So if you have a strong belief that something's going to happen, you're going to move towards it. If I said to you guys, I have a pot of gold growing in my backyard and I can't carry it all, I can't have it, it's just growing every day, come. You're coming because you know there's gold here and you're going to come prepared. You're going to come with a bag. You're going to come with your shovel. You're going to come with something because you know what you're coming for. How many of you step out your house every day with expectation, or you just plodding along letting things happen on a daily basis? I dare you to step out and move in May with expectation. What are you expecting for your month of May? Belief. In order to have expectation, you must have belief. Belief. Be is the state of being. Lief is to be glad or to be happy. So you have to be in a state of glad and happy when you are believing for something. What's your emotions like? If you know something's coming, like I know my birthday's coming, right? Quick plug, I'm launching my book. I have my book launch coming out. We're having a big party. You know, May 20th, I'm excited about it. My energy's fired up about it. I'm feeling fire right now. I'm fired up. Fire. It hasn't come yet. I'm speaking the future. It's going to be packed out. We're going to have a party. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to release my book. It's going to be absolutely amazing. What's the energy like for what you're expecting? Guess what? It was just an idea. It was a thought that came into my mind. That's how I want to celebrate my birthday. I want to give myself a book. I promised myself I was going to do this book. I promised myself I was going to make it happen. Now I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure it's done for my birthday. This is my present to myself. I'm going to do this book. It was just a thought that turned into an emotion because I began to get grateful for it. I began to feel it. And guess what? Because I was feeling it, it then turned into action. Before I knew it, I was in the studio recording it. And guess what, guys? It's now happening. What are you expecting for your life? What are you putting out there? What's the future look like? Or are you stuck? Get away from thinking about your present. Get away from thinking about the past. Can you be grateful for what hasn't happened yet? Can you get yourself in a state of an emotion where you are expecting, you're believing for something big to happen, so you start moving as if it's already done? Cannot be worried about negative. Cannot be worried about failure. Cannot be worried about none of that. You got to be in an emotional state of gratitude and excitement. In order for the miracle to happen, wait for it, because you guys ain't gonna like this bit. In order for the miracle to happen, do you know something bad has to happen? You don't need a miracle in good times. You need a miracle in times where something ain't going right. Think about it. When someone's sick and they're in cardiac arrest and they're not breathing, that's when they need a miracle of life. Something bad has to happen for the miracle to come. You don't want a miracle in times where everything's good. The miracle comes during a time where you feel like, okay, this is crazy. So in order to have a state of belief, You need 3 things. You guys ready for this? Words. The words that you're speaking and hearing are paramount. What are the words that you are sowing? Words are seed. One of the things I said to myself is I have to make sure that no one is speaking negative around me. Every word sows a seed in my heart. Every word. And if I allow people to sow their negative words into my heart, into my life, now I'm planting that, and that's the fruit that I will harvest. I reject that. I must make sure that the right seeds are being sown into my heart so that I harvest what it is that I want. Same thing with the reticular activating system. I must sow the right seeds. The second thing is images. What are you seeing? This is going to affect your imagination. This is going to affect the things that you're thinking. What are the things that you're seeing on a daily basis? What are the images that you put around yourself? Whatever it is that you see, that's what the world is going to give you. And the third one, I've mentioned it a few times, is your emotions, your mood. You know, I assessed myself, and I had to apologize to my husband because I realized a couple of years ago, I was getting really moody for no reason. Again, hypersensitive, just real moody. And I recognized in myself that I wasn't a fun person to be around. And I had to change that. I want everyone to come around me and say, Nikki, you're a vibe, you're a hype. Like every time I feel good around you, I get good energy from you. I don't want to be moody. You know, there's some moody people out there. Some people that when you're around them, they're just moody, no energy. They sit slumped. They're just, you know, face looks dead. The world is all against them and the cup is half empty. I don't want to be around the moody people. Who are you around? Are these people excited about future? Are they talking about the past? I love my mum to bits, but she's always talking about the past. Have you ever had them parents that can tell you, back in 1986 when you did Bond, you know who hurt me? You know, this person did this, and 1997 and 90. She knows dates, times of every bad thing that happened in the whole entire family. She has it all vented out. I said, Mum, you keep talking about the past. All the family members, the ones from Jamaica, the ones from this, every single thing she remembers. Listen, sometimes they say, you know, about, you know, you can forgive but never forget. Please forget. Forget those bad stuff. Get them out of your head. Stop regurgitating them. Stop thinking about them. It's going to affect your mood. How do you keep yourself in good, you know, good mood? Music. What music are you listening to? Sometimes for me, it's like gospel music. When I want to be all hyped, I'm listening to my bashment music and I'm listening to my, you know, I have all different types of music to set my mood in the way that I want. Right? I remember when my baby father left me and I was pregnant and I had you know, I had my baby and I had one on the way and he left me. And I sat there listening to Celine Dion's, Keisha Cole's. That was affecting my mood. It was making me stay stuck. I was listening to sad music on purpose because that's the way I was feeling. Sometimes what you have to do is listen to music that counteracts the negative feeling so that you can uplift yourself. There's a song that says, encourage yourself. So you can encourage yourself out of the situation. Sometimes we want to stay in the situation and have a pity party. And sometimes, I'll tell you this, have a pity party for half an hour, but it ain't going to do you no good. It's not going to help you move. It won't keep you stuck. So who are the people that you can call who hold you accountable out of a pity party? Do you have the right relationships that's going to help you have that emotion? What are the relationships you even have with yourself, your higher being, your heavenly Father? Because the emotion that you should be putting out every single day is love and gratitude. Love and gratitude. Anytime you have a pity party, anytime you feel sorry for yourself, it's because you've stopped being grateful. What can you be grateful for? Every single day, find something that you can be grateful for. Grateful for your children, grateful for life, grateful that your hands are working, grateful that you don't have cancer, grateful that you are surviving and thriving, grateful that you have the ability to work. There are things that people are praying to have that you live with every day that you take for granted. You're having a pity party moment because you've lost your gratitude. This is how I speak to myself. Nikki, what can you be grateful for in this season? Yes, it's gone crazy, but what can I be grateful for? There's always things that we can be grateful for. I watched a film the other day and it got me into pieces. I was sobbing my eyes out. Sobbing. It was called Scratch on Netflix. I encourage you to watch it. I saw this couple, they have goals. They are, one is a creative and one is a chef. One dreams to have his restaurant and the other one dreams to be an artist. And they just were grinding. And no matter how much they grind, obstacles just kept coming their way. Obstacles. And the way that they reunited together and loved each other and poured into each other. It was so beautiful to see that despite all these obstacles, they kept speaking life. They kept pulling each other up. You got to make sure that you have this around you. You got to be clear. Listen, when it comes to, relationships, one of the things I ask myself that helps me, what does God want for me? What would Jesus do? That's a tall order to ask. Because it's easy to roll over and cry. It's easy to think. But in this season, you got to fight, not fold. In this season, you got to be a warrior for your goals. We got two more, A and R. A is, of course, action. The process of doing something. Action, action, action. Action is a fact. You cannot hide from action. Action. So you have clarity, you have leadership, skill sets, expectation, action. They all work together. You got to be clear on what you want. You got to be able to lead yourself, lead others. You got to have an expectation of greatness, of big things. Then you're going to take action towards it. You must take action towards it. If you take action without being clear of the expectation, it will not work. You must be clear on what it is that you want so you can take the right actions to get what it is that you want. They all work together. You must have all of them. And of course, lastly, once you do that, you will then indeed get the results. And, with Instagram and all these social media platforms, we seem to live in a results-driven society now. Everyone posts their results. Very few people post the process. But in order for you to really get the results, in order for you to really have, the life that you want, the relationships that you want, the bank account that you want, the self-love that you want, the body that you want, whatever the goal is in this season, you got to do the 4 things above. You got to be clear. You got to have the leadership. You got to have expectation. You got to take massive action in the month of May. Make a decision to be around the right people. Ask yourself, who's coming with you? Who isn't? Who will you have helped in the month of May? Who will you be around in the month of May? I made a decision for the month of May that I'm not going to stay stuck. I'm not going to have a spirit of restlessness. I'm not going to have a spirit of worry or doubt or fear. I'm going to make sure that May is my month. And how many of you can say in the chat as well that May is my month? Because I'm clear on the vision. I'm in a state of expectation. I have decided that I will work on becoming the best leader of myself. I will be disciplined. I will be focused, and I know who I'm going to serve. I know exactly the type of person that I'm going to be. I will take massive action, and I know the relationships and the results. That's the R, relationships and results. The relationships and the results must come in the month of May. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm super, super excited to tell you that your May just got moved, that you are about to move in a way that you've never seen before. Now, the question is, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to accept? Are you ready to put yourself in a state of expectation for what it is that you want? Homework tonight, guys, is for you to literally write down exactly what it is that you want in the month of May. Write down what you're going to do to make sure that those things happen in the month of May. Write down what obstacles and distractions that you're going to make sure that you pivot around. What are you going to do when the familiarity of the patterns of distractions come your way? 3 pieces to the homework. What do you want? What are you going to do? And what's the distractions that you're going to make sure that you can pivot around making it happen? Connect with the right people, guys. The relationships will come. The results will come. But now it's time to really assess your thinking. I want you to think about your thinking. Think about how you think. And those of you that are in the UK, I can officially tell you guys that my book launch, because I'm doing this with you guys. I'm being held accountable, right? I'm being held accountable. And my book is officially launching in the next 3 weeks, May 20th, in London. And I'm very, very excited about it. Very, very excited about it. It will be incredible to celebrate with you all. Of course, it will be my birthday as well. And I've entitled it the Over the Top book launch. Why? Because I believe that it's a season to really come out, go big or go home. And so it's going to be over the top, meaning everyone comes out, everyone has a great time. And then we have a party at the end. Got some incredible old school DJs. I'm an old school girl, and we're literally going to party the night away and just really be grateful around, you know, what God has really done in our lives. And so the Over the Top book launch, I've put out an Eventbrite link, but for those individuals who are connected inside, obviously, this community, you guys get a discount. So you can message me privately if you want to be in attendance of the Over the Top book launch. Will be May 20th. We have VIP tickets, a few of those left, and general entry. VIP is 4 p.m. and the general admission starts at 5 p.m. There's some little extras for the VIPs. I want to see if I can pull up the flyer for you all. But do me a favor, guys. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this screen. If you've taken anything at all from this session, please tag me in on Instagram. Let me know your top takeaways. If you're in any of the groups that we're in, please put your top 5 takeaways in the group. Let everybody know that you are ready to move in May. Okay, take a video recording, screenshot of this, whatever you need to for us to be able to move in May. Okay, I want to know that you got something from this call. I want to know that you are ready to activate. It is the first of the month. Okay, don't worry about the past. We start fresh. We're gonna make it happen from the month of May. So let me see if it will allow me to share my screen, and I will show you guys this. I haven't posted it on social media just yet because I want to make sure that all my people get their entry tickets before I put it on socials on Wednesday. So this gives those people that I have. Here it is right here, guys. I'm very, very excited about it. I've taken massive action. I'm a product of the product. Whatever I teach, I'm making sure I'm taking the training as well. So it's the Over the Top book launch and birthday party. VIP entry 4 p.m. General entry will be 5 p.m. Special announcement 6 p.m. The link is actually in my bio on Instagram. But as I said, those of you that are part of any community or any of these sessions, you will get a discount. So send me a message and I'll tell you how you'll get a discount for any of the tickets that you may want. And the dress code is, of course, over the top and wear a red accessory. So we are going to have an absolutely incredible time. I think I've got about 4 or 5 DJs. VIP includes food as well, and it is going to be over the top. Just know that it's going to be over the top. Get your dresses, get your suits, gents, over the top, over the top, over the top, and let's make this thing happen. So with that being said, guys, God bless you. All right, God bless you. I will see you next Monday, God willing, same time, same link. All right. And I will see you at the top because guess what? You deserve to be there. Will you move in May? I think you will, because guess what? We've all come in to agreement. So don't forget your homework, okay? In the first 48 hours, if you don't do it, you probably won't. So get onto your homework, all right? And I'll see you all very soon, all right? Let's go, let's grow. Take care. God bless.
Came up against your home. The enemy came up against your children. The enemy came up against your name. The enemy came up against your character. You will win, win. You will win. The enemy came up against your health. The enemy came up against your finances. The enemy came up against your vision. The enemy came up against your business. You will win. Oh, you will win. Yes, you will. So lay your hands on yourself and say this.